You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Mavs fans, welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm Kirk Henderson, and I am joined, as always, by Josh Bowe. We are editors at MavsMoneyball.com. You are joining us right now. We're recording live with a live group of fans here on YouTube. It is 1 minute after 10 o'clock on Thursday, February 27th. Josh, how are you?
I'm good. I feel like we might be the only people that watched this game tonight, judging by Twitter, judging by our Slack channel. I don't think
my single favorite thing. Shout out to Mavs Moneyball contributor Tyler Edsel, who let us know specifically he wasn't watching the game, only to then clearly be watching the game. And this is the thing, guys. Like, I want you, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I want you to know that you're a real one. You are a hardcore Mavs fan, and we appreciate you. Part of why we do this show is specifically for people like you, because this was a basketball abomination, and there's just no way around it. You know, the Mavericks are in a rough spot right now, and they're playing a Hornets team which had lost their 3 previous games by 131 points. So
that's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. Like, I think it might be the biggest 3-game loss margin in NBA history. Shout out to our Twitter friend The Knife, who is upset about Najee Marshall's 1 of 11 performance. Don't you worry, my friend. We're also not very thrilled with it. But the thing about this is, and I wrote the game recap. You tried to bully me out of it, and I told you no. Because I had a feeling. it was going to be a slog, and I had a feeling the Mavericks would win anyways. And for a team that's in the Mavericks spot, the main thing has to just be win. You have to win. Yep. Nothing else matters. And ultimately, that's probably what we will focus on here, because the Mavericks had just gotten, they got whooped pretty hard by the Golden State Warriors on the road. They went to Los Angeles and played a emotional, bizarre game, which we talked about was pretty fun basketball game, surprisingly. And now they come home. They just need to get their bearings. That's all. You just have to keep winning, because this Western Conference slog is going to be a kind of the 6 to 11 seed area is going to be who can win the most knife fights. It's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, and
But
I know we feel like we've been saying that after every game because it feels like they've been hurt all season. So we're kind of saying the same things over and over again. But I mean, until they have most of their starters, which they were missing what four of their 7 best players tonight. No PJ, no Anthony Davis, no Daniel Gafford, no Derek Lively. Like, as long as they're still missing between 3 and 4 like important players every game, there's no such thing as bad wins. There just isn't. You can watch a game like tonight and be like, I don't feel good about that win, and that's fine because it wasn't, a very convincing victory over what's might be one of the worst team in the NBA. But it doesn't really matter because they're they're so short-handed.
Just gotta
gotta
win. I
Yeah.
mean, David and I did the playback, and if you've not ever joined any of our playbacks, it's a really fun way to watch games with somebody other than yourself or your spouse or your girlfriend, and yelling at the TV alone. We're watching the game, and there's just elements of this where the Mavericks are so. We were talking about this where people are asking, how come the Mavericks don't have any injury exceptions? Well, they're like, because, and somebody explained this in the chat, and I could be getting this wrong. So please, if I'm getting this wrong, let me know. I'm not intentionally spreading misinformation. Because the Mavericks sent out more players than they took back in the trade for Anthony Davis from Luka Doncic, because they sent out Luka, and then Quentin Grimes left. Did we send anybody else out in the Luka trade?
The Luka trade was just Luka and Maxey.
Luka and Maxey.
And they got back 2, so that was an even trade, right?
There's something to the fact that they have an open roster spot, but they don't have the cap. I don't think they can actually sign anyone into that roster spot. And they don't.
Yeah, because they're kind of messed. They traded Grimes and brought in Caleb Martin. That put them in a weird spot.
They're in this extraordinarily difficult spot. Yeah, Chief Keef. Duh. What's wrong with me? They sent out Maxey and Keef. So they sent out 3 right. And got back 2. And then, so because they only got back 2, thank you for that, by the way. Based El Madhoun. Love that. Basel asked, whatever. I'm sorry, my friend. I don't mean to butcher your name. I have been drinking wine. Not going to lie. Something about that fact, because they have an open roster spot and because they're pushed up against the apron, they can't do anything. So they're and paired with the injuries, I think they would have to have even more injuries. Things would have to get diabolically bleak for this team, which they can still field an NBA roster. It's just they're all hurt in one position, which hurts. Which, speaking of that one position, the Mavericks 10-day signee Moses Brown had the game of his career, 20-11, and was really, and this is not hyperbolic if you didn't watch this game. He was really the only reason they weren't losing for about 75% of this game.
Yeah, I think I get it. When it was announced that the Mavericks were signing him to a 10-day contract, there was a lot of jokes from Mavs fans, and I get it because Moses Brown is not a great NBA player, and he already spent some time in Dallas, and that didn't really go all that well, and he's kind of bounced around, journeyman kind of player. But when it happened, it was yeah, of course. They were playing Kessler Edwards and Omax Prosper at center. They brought in a 2-way player, Kyler Kelly, who is not an NBA player. Yeah, Moses Brown isn't good, but he could play 5 minutes in an NBA, you know what I mean? He's done things in an NBA game.
Yep.
As a center. I remember someone was one of a longtime follower who I have, I like interacting with, was how do we even know how good Kyler Kelly is? Because he hasn't played. And I was like, guys, he's not there's a reason why he hasn't played. That goes into the evaluation. If Jason Kidd is playing Kessler Edwards at center over him, that goes to show you what Jason Kidd thinks of Kelly as a potential NBA big man at this very moment. And the Mavericks are not a team that can just let him go out there and F around for 15 minutes and figure it out because, like you said, they need to win games. Yep. So, Moses Brown might not do anything else for the remainder of his 10-day, and I assume they're probably going to sign him to that second 10-day.
They can't.
They can't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well,
after this 10 days, so which expires, and I'm glad you brought this up.
Okay.
After this 10 day, they can't sign somebody else until at some point in April.
Oh, that's right. Until they've only got like so many days left of.
That's why that's why securing a win is important, because they're gonna get walloped at some point.
The good teams will, for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, but this is why you like he might stink for 9 of the 10 days, but the fact that he was able to do this against a crappy team and help secure a win that's why you do it. Makes it totally worth it. Like, it doesn't matter what he does from here on out. Like, he served his purpose. And boy, the Hornets are a bad team. I think Mark Williams, besides Moses Brown, I think Mark Williams might have been the Mavericks' best player.
So Mark Williams had 26 and 16. Tell me why he sucked. Explain why he did. He sucked.
He might be the worst big man defender in the NBA right now. I mean, he doesn't put his hands up, Kirk. And
He's huge.
Me and you came up in high school playing, we were big men, big men, while we're playing next to guys that are,
7 foot tall.
Yeah, like the Dallas elite. And I'm 6'7" pudgy white kid, and I'm considered a center. The one thing you're taught, as a big man playing defense, like, keep your hands up. Like, I don't know how many times the Mavericks drove and dumped it off to Brown, and Williams is standing there with his hands near his hips and knees, and like, he just never contested. He barely contested anything around the rim. The Mavericks shot 80% in the restricted area tonight. They didn't get there a ton, but they were 16 of 20 in the restricted area. And I swear to God, most of those 16 buckets were Mark Williams in the area, but not guarding it, like, just not defending it. Like, that guy, I don't know if he just can't do it or he doesn't want to. He wasn't really doing it. I was going to say maybe he's just bummed out that he didn't get traded to Los Angeles, and this is like his quiet quitting. But he was bad before the trade deadline. Like,
saying Mark Williams quiet quit is wild.
I know. That was bad. And not to take away from Moses Brown, not trying to say like, oh, that doesn't count. Like, it all counts, man. Like, it doesn't matter. But there's a reason I think Charlotte was ready to get rid of him. And you could see it tonight. And I was just floored by the defensive ineptitude of him at the basket, especially. And what was crazy is they're playing drop, like, because he can't guard, like, he can't move his feet very well near the 3-point line. So they were playing exclusively drop coverage in the pick and roll. So he's sagging back in the paint. And even with that generous, like, he's got a head start. Like, it's not like he's trying to catch up to anybody. He's meeting people at the rim, and he just doesn't have his hands up. It was crazy. It was crazy to watch, but the Mavericks took advantage of it. That's what you're supposed to do.
So we've not really recapped the game because it's kind of horrible, but every time the Mavericks looked like they were going to do something, the Hornets pulled back. And, we didn't mention PJ Washington didn't play tonight. Kids' comments about his ankle injury pregame were actually a little bit alarming. Washington hurt his ankle before the All-Star break, then came back and has been questionable in 2 of the games that they played. This was the 3rd game.
And he looked horrible the last game he played.
He was horrible.
LA. Yeah.
And so, they're really fighting for their lives right now. So the Mavericks sort of would make a little run. Hornets would come back. The Hornets were leading in a lot of the 3rd quarter, and then they just died on the vine. A Kyrie Irving run made the game finally interesting for the Mavericks. And then all they had to do was screw up less than the Hornets, because the Hornets were just the kind of, look, we're killing Mark Williams, and we're right, but the kind of passes Mark Williams was getting as he was rolling to the basket at his knees, and it's just like
they didn't have any guards tonight because no LiAngelo Ball for Charlotte.
Yeah, LaMelo Ball.
LiAngelo, that's the wrong one.
LiAngelo is the rapper now.
My bad.
That's a great fuck up. It was tough to watch. It was because the Hornets were just like they got the former Arkansas player Nick Smith Jr., who at one point was like a top recruit in the nation. And he just, I don't know. Again, it's the guys, I think it's the second year in the league. He doesn't have that, like the game doesn't look like it's slowed down for him at all. So when he makes great plays, it's like, oh, wow. And then he'll make a bad play and it's like, oh, wow. Like very different. It's just the poor kid. And then, you know,
he's not a passer. Like
Mm-mm.
dude is averaging 20 minutes a game and not even averaging 2 assists as a 6'2" guard. Like
it's pretty impressive.
He wants to get up shots.
And then they have our guy Josh Green with the most Josh Green game and stat line of all time. 36 minutes, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Just a borderline non-contributing zero.
We could be so mean. We could be so mean about
be so mean because he fucking sucks. And I'm tired of the people that rooted for him for years. If you liked Josh Green, you liked him, and because
you like the idea
he sucked. Like, because he got destroyed on screens tonight. And that was what used to kill Josh and I, where it's like there'd be a big motherfucker in his peripheral vision and he just wouldn't see it and would run into the screen. And that I watched him get hit on a back screen tonight where he fell down. Okay. He fell down. You're muted. That's impressive. Maybe you'll have to log back in. My friend B-Boys 89 down there is letting us know that Mark Williams looked pretty solid tonight, and he should have been even more solid. That's what I'll say.
I mean, he got numbers because the Mavericks were playing Dwight Powell and Moses Brown at center, but I mean, his defense was
I think it switched to your other audio. I don't know why.
Holy crap! I didn't even touch anything.
Look, man, that's the internet for you. We're good here. I'll filibuster for a little bit.
Well, I got there we go.
There we go.
Switch to my webcam. I don't know why.
So just the Hornets' bottom line are not a real basketball team. There's a reason LaMelo Ball's usage is the second, depending on which source you look at. Basketball Reference has him as the highest usage in the league this year at like 38%.
Look at who played tonight. Who the hell else is supposed to use the ball on this team?
No,
on this team, right? Like
nobody.
Yeah. I don't know what it's almost more interesting to talk about the Hornets, which is kind of silly, but it's more like they've been so bad for so long, like, and they still don't have what is the direction of this team? Like,
no,
I'm watching players, I'm like, they've been so bad, they should have better where are all their prospects? It's like Mark Williams, okay, yes. Like I don't understand where it all goes. It's crazy.
This is you just feel bad for them.
Team. Yeah.
So, going back to the Mavericks, Kyrie Irving somehow played 38 minutes in a win against the Hornets. Like, that should just send alarm bells up and down the roster, but he had to because everyone else was stinky. Omax was so fucking bad. He played 4 minutes and had 2 2-point air balls. That's hard.
Yeah.
Some games aren't going to be for him. Whatever. He's at his best when the game is slower and his excess energy actually like is beneficial. But this game is too much.
Yeah, this was not a good game for the young prospects on the Mavericks because Omax was bad and Jaden Hardy was
poor.
Not great.
This guy, I would feel bad dunking on him, but I don't. Because playing 3 minutes and being a -8 against the Hornets is shocking. I don't understand. Like basketball historians are going to look at the Mavericks 2024 finals run and say that guy made a difference because he did. He made a difference. And then against the Hornets, he can't play.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough because this is, like I said, this is exactly the kind of game. A lot of injuries. The Hornets stink. Like, you would think that those two guys would be able to get 15 to 20 minutes, because the Mavericks are either need them or they're winning that they can play more. But yeah, it was not a good night for those guys. The starters actually played pretty well. It's the bench. Like, I think Kidd was just trying to find something on the bench. Like, if the bench played like neutral, then this is a game where Kyrie is only playing like 30 minutes instead of 38 minutes. But what are you
Right. And what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Well,
just win.
I'm not gonna take a break like our normal pod because Josh and I are probably gonna kind of close up soon here. We're just kind of at a place right now. We're talking about this team. And I got an email, and maybe he listens to the show. I don't know. I got an email from an older gentleman the other day who was basically like, "You guys are being way too hard on Nico all the time. You guys need to stop. You need to move on." I very unpolitely told him no and told him we're going to do whatever we want to do because we're a fan-based site. That said, today is 901, or it's like 1,956 straight day of Luka news. And I don't even want to address it. I'm just going to say I am so tired of it. And I am so tired of talking about it. And I just want it to go away. I just want it to go away.
Yeah. We'll see. Nothing came out today, right?
Oh yeah, no, Jake.
Wait, what
on
happened
the dumb zone with our. They're not. Our
the Kirk Goldsberry interview.
They're not our friends because I don't think they like us very much. But whatever. The Jake Kemp interviewed Kirk Goldsberry, and Kirk Goldsberry had who. And I'm just gonna say this. I don't care. Like he's a different Kirk. He will never hear me say this. I believe he believes what he's saying. I don't believe that he has more inside information than everyone on the Los Angeles side and everyone on the Maverick side.
We'll say what he said for the people.
He went on the dumb zone and told Jake Kemp and that whole crew of people that the Lakers front office, lots of people knew for more than a month that this trade was happening. I just don't fucking believe that. Like the Lakers are a leaky ship all the time. So,
yeah, if they knew for a month, that would be pretty. If
That'd
more
be
people in that org knew for a month and it didn't leak to Shams or someone like that, that'd be crazy. Yeah.
I believe like LeBron knew. I believe Pelinka knew. I believe
And
the coach knew. I believe the owner knew. Like 5-6 people, whatever. I don't believe the whole front office knew.
Yeah.
I'm
with you there.
Anyway, that's so okay. The Mavericks now. Let's just kind of look ahead, real quick. The Mavericks. Sorry, I was clicked into the Lakers box score. They're beating Minnesota by 20. We're up ahead here for an interesting go round. This is why this win ultimately was extremely important to me. If you are a Mavericks fan that wants them to make the playoffs, and I think most people want them to make the playoffs because we're already here, and that's just what's going to happen. These next 4 games are extraordinarily important, but I also don't see how the hell they win a single one of them. They go Milwaukee, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Memphis.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's
they're gonna need a Giannis rest day or a Ja. Is Ja still out? Is Ja playing? Yeah,
he's kind of hit or miss either way.
Yeah, they can get Sacramento though. The Kings are whatever, but still, that's only maybe 1 and 3.
I decided not to tweet this today because I decided to not pull my channel my inner Matt Moore, but I wanted to tweet the hypothetical today of would Nico Harrison have traded Ja Morant with Morant's off court chicanery. Don't answer that. That's why it's a hypothetical.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't want to.
But those I just don't see. And look, like the Milwaukee games are what they are. It is not a slight against Dallas to say I don't see how they win them. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo, even with this kind of limp leg that he has going, because he doesn't look very good after straining his own calf. He had a 28-point triple-double with 19 rebounds tonight against the Nuggets. Like, who in the hell is guarding him for on the Mavericks?
Yeah, and if they don't have if there's no PJ, if PJ's not back, if they don't have their centers, I mean, he's going to score like 50 points in the paint just by himself. I don't really see how they stop that. But the nice thing, though, is after these 4 games, I mean, this schedule is backloaded with Eastern Conference slog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Philly. I mean, they still got to play Philly. They got Brooklyn. They have Chicago, Orlando. Sorry, Orlando, but you're kind of you're probably not in the same breath as those other teams. But
no, but they're pretty damn good. Like they're the kind, like they're 29-32. They're the kind of team that if the Mavericks have to play them, they're so much bigger than the Mavericks.
I know, but they're also the kind of team where pre-Luka I wouldn't really care because the Luka Mavericks historically dominate teams that are good offense or good defense, bad offense.
I mean, the April games are really fascinating. Like you play 2 against the Clippers, 1 against the Lakers and Memphis.
Yeah, all teams ahead of you in the standings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who are probably looking to secure their spot. Like, sorry.
Well, they're not going to fall out of the play-in because the teams that are outside the play-in are all teams where their seasons are done.
You really don't think the Suns can make a run? I mean, that's the only team. Well.
Dude, I think they
make the note of that.
The Suns lost by 8 to the Pelicans tonight at home, so I don't know what.
That's your point. After giving up 151 to the Grizzlies.
Yeah, they gave up 124 in regulation to the Pelicans. I guess the Suns are. They theoretically could the teams outside of it.
I'm looking at their schedule. You're right.
That's a team that is, I think, thinking about Kevin Durant.
Shit.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's ready for his next team.
But there's more than that. Like, listen to this, man. They play Lakers. This is just some of the teams they play down the stretch in March. Lakers, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Boston, Minnesota, Houston, Milwaukee, Boston, New York, Golden State, Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
holy shit.
They ain't making a run, man.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I take that back. My God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Austin Paul in the chat says we will move up in the standings. I don't know. I also don't care. Like if you're, I don't see us moving up to 6. I think the goal is to not be 10th. Like that's kind of where I'm sitting. Like don't be 10th. If you can just, because you lose that one, you're done.
Or at least be 7th, so you playing home games no matter what. Mm-hmm. Even if you lose that one, you play another home game. So
plus let's just be nakedly honest about this. You and I have a vested interest in continuing to talk about basketball.
We do. They need.
Otherwise,
that's why when everyone gets mad at us, I'm like, they need to win, man, or this doesn't.
You and I don't want to talk about draft prospects. Like we suck at this. We don't care.
No, I absolutely do not want to talk about the draft, and especially if you don't make the playout like that. That season when they missed the play-in in 2023, and we didn't have playoff games to do this remember trying to do podcast episodes from like May to June. Or from like late April to June. We were like, what do we do? What are we doing? So I know I don't want to do that, but they should be fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, a lot of you weirdos want to go watch the Lakers play, which I don't. I don't care anymore. Yep, I love Luka. He can do his best. And I will simply say, I miss you. I don't want to watch you. I'm going to finish up this podcast. I would, I'm going to try to have a live show on Saturday night, kind of regardless, because I may have to go out of town for part of next week. Josh may be recording solo on Wednesday. Monday, I'll probably be here. I will definitely be here, but we'll see how this stuff goes. Everybody, thank you so much for spending part of your night with me. I really appreciate our regulars in the comments. I'm very mean to you guys sometimes in the live comment section. I do mean it, but I love you anyways. If that makes sense. Okay, everyone be good. We'll talk soon. Go Mavs.